So here we go. Okay, so everyone, my name is Jason. I'm a Course in Miracles student and a channeler, and I've just come on today. I just wanted to do a really quick channeling, um, and really spur of the moment, I guess. And so, what I wanted to talk about, um, what I wanted to ask about was just a follow up from my previous video. So in my previous video, we're talking to the guides about this construction period that we're going through, and this constriction period that we're all, that's what it is, constriction, that we're going through this tunnel that's very, very narrow. And as we're going through this tunnel, we can't really take anything with us. We can only take the necessities with us, and like my guides have always been telling me to pare down all of my goods, all of my goods, my possessions. So like I used to have instruments all over the room, and there's just a few that I can't really get rid of. They're too much emotional value, so I can't. Um, but what they had always been telling me, just something that you can carry on your back, so just paring down, and that's not just your material goods, but also your baggage, your emotional baggage, your all the different things. It's a just a cleaning up of your life, of all the different things, of all the loose ends. And that is what they told me, because the what we're going through and what we are in at this moment is this kind of, we're going through this tiny little hole. So we, up until this point, we've been going through this, like, I guess, a wider hole, but we're going through a very constricted period where we can't fit through if we have all of the stuff that we have usually. We can't take all that stuff with us. And so the question was, is so to follow up on this is, how long would it last? Now, I usually don't like to ask. What's the word? I don't like to ask. Um, Time questions. It's for me. I usually find that it's very hard for them to really s- tell the future, basically, and because the future is always changing, because it depends on us and what we're thinking and how everyone else is thinking, um, and they can only talk in probabilities. And there's a possibility, if everyone is thinking the exact same thing at this moment, that it might go this way. But so they can talk in probabilities. So we can go through that. I can ask them for a percentage. They give me a percentage. Um, so I'll let me ask about that. The other thing was about. So first, let me ask that. But the second question was about luggage. So the luggage that we want to get rid of. Um, do we just like acknowledge, like, oh, okay, I have this? So the universe is usually giving us a sign of different things we need to get rid of, and they do that through like disease, or through pains. If you have a pain in a certain part of your body, it might be a message that there's something that you need to get rid of there, or that might be something that you're holding on to. um, and so the question was, is it okay if I just acknowledge that? So I have this pain here. I acknowledge that this pain is coming from my um, inability to speak my truth, for example. And that, is that all I need to do to stop the pain? So that's the other question to follow up. So here we go. Let me just start with okay. So this constriction stage that we're in. How long is this thing gonna last? How is it? Um, so yeah, here we go. Let's chat a little. Yeah, I just had a sound healing session that um yeah, I just had a sound healing session. I don't know if it was the best sound healing session ever, but it was a sound healing session. um but I had some new clients, and it was kind of an interesting kind of atmosphere. But one of the clients was very upset that she wasn't able to sleep through it. Um, which was interesting. I I should have explained it better, that the whole idea is not necessarily to sleep, um, but it gave me a good idea for doing sound baths, because you're working with groups of people and not just one person, and so you have to really, probably, I should probably tame it down a bit, because I go pretty deep, and if you're not really willing or ready to go deep, it can be, I think, a little bit too much. So maybe I just need to make them more kind of just relaxing music. So anyways, that's my story, my spiel. So Okay, so here we go. I'm going to ask about this constriction stage and how long might it last. Okay, here we go. Greetings, we are Isis and we are here and we are always here around you, surrounding you and watching you in this amazing experience that you are all having in this amazing time when everything is turning upside down and you're able to see what is under the rocks that have not been overturned for millennia. You overturning the rocks and you're seeing what's underneath, and it is just like as if you were a child and you're looking under a rock and you're seeing all these things, and some of them are very beautiful and some of them are very shocking and sometimes a little bit scary, and that's okay. That is just the nature of seeing something for the first time and understanding something for the first time. And this is something that is happening on your planet. It has happened on other planets, the revealing. And the revealing is a very sensitive time for a planet. The revealing of all things that have been hidden, it is a very sensitive time because it is the way that you react to it is what the universe is looking forward and looking at. And it is very important that you are given enough time to react, given enough um, seeds planted so that when you do see it, you are not in too much of a state of shock. Of course, there will be shock. Of course, when you look under the rock and you see, for example, a snake under the rock, it can be scary, it can be frightening. But just understand that that snake has been under that rock for a long time, and the snake has been there, even though you didn't realize it was there. It was still there, and that is what is happening. It is just a revealing of things that have been hidden in order for you to acknowledge them. You have reached a state on your planet overall of a spiritual state where you're able to see these things and able to integrate the dark and the light together in order for you to graduate. You might say graduate from this third dimension, understanding the balance between both the dark and the light and how they work together to create all of these different experiences for you, be they good or be they bad. But it is time, it is the ending time of that period of experiencing the dark and the light. And so all of the dark that has been hidden for the longest time has to be revealed. And then it is up to you on how you will respond to it. How will you react to it? Will you react with anger? Will you react with fear? Will you judge? Will you condemn? How will you react? And that is what is being looked at. That is what the universe is looking at this moment. And it is a final exam of sorts for all of you to see everything as it is and understand that you are not this body. If you are this body, then yes, you could judge and you could say all of these things, and but you are not a body. And since you're not a body, you are not really here. The things that you're seeing are not really what you are seeing. These are all projections. As it has been said, it is like a virtual reality that you're in, like a game that you're in. And but all of you are one. You are part of God. You are part of Source. And you've never left Source. You're all a part of Source. And you are all one. You are all the Buddha, the Christ. You are all connected. You are all one. And because you're all one, you cannot separate in that sense. You've never really separated. So what your eyes are seeing is a separation, but it is not real. It is just a playing out of roles that you are doing, of playing out of the roles of the dark and of the light. And once you understand that and you're able to integrate that, then you're able to go to the next step. And that is part of this constriction process as well. It is a forgiveness practice. It is simply a forgiveness practice. It is a letting go of all the things that you hold, that you're holding inside of you, because you don't need them anymore. And they won't fit through this small tunnel, this small portal that we're all going through. So it's very, very important for you to pare down all of these things, all of these attachments to this planet, attachments to this third dimension, to the structures that you have been attached to the way that society works, to all of the way that your companies work or your businesses work, or the things that the television says will make you happy and that you strive towards. All of these different things. It is a time of letting go of all of that, because that is no longer and never has been. And as we are constricting, you will have to see reality is, I guess, is the best way for us to put it to you. You have to be able to understand what is under the rock, look under the rock and see it and integrate it. Of course, the fear is natural, and the anger, the condemnation, the judgment, all of these things are natural. But it's the next step. So first, of course, you feel the emotion. You feel that strong emotion, and then what do you do next with that emotion? Do you just hold that anger and make it burn you up inside and seethe inside of you and create diseases, or do you feel the anger and you feel the pain and you feel the sadness and you feel the distraughtness? Uh, and then what do you do next? How do you solve this problem? And the key to solving these problems is to take the next step, is letting go of that strong emotion, because holding that strong emotion will just attack yourself. It'll just create pain for you. So the point is you feel that emotion, and that emotion is a catalyst. It is a catalyst for action. It is a catalyst for action, for light working. It is a catalyst for speaking your truth. And so that is what this is for. It will catalyze you. So the emotion is the fire beneath you to get you going, and then you let go of that, and then you take the next step of transmuting that energy, of understanding that energy, of making people aware of what it is that is going on, and of you forgiving and letting go, and sending your light and finding out if there is anything that you can do. And so that is our advice to you. Hmm, hmm. Okay. All right, interesting. And then the next thing was, yeah. So I think they touched on that a little bit. I hope you guys can hear me. I can't really tell if the microphone, the little green dot's not working so well. But I hope you can hear me. Oh, this is supposed to be a short channeling. It's kind of long now. All right. So and then so I'll just answer the second question about this constriction. Um, so, is it okay that we just acknowledge it? Or if we acknowledge it, for example, so your throat chakra. Throat chakra is all about expressing yourself and about boundaries, setting right boundaries. So, if you're having problems with your throat, it could have something to do with you expressing your truth. And so, if you acknowledge, okay, I'm not expressing my truth, if you just acknowledge that, will that cure the problem? I think that is, um, yeah, I think that is what hmm, yeah. So yeah, will that stop it? So if you put out to the universe that for example, I'm going to speak my truth now, and I'm going to take steps to doing that. Will that cure the problem with your throat, for example? So okay, so here we go. Greetings. We are Isis again, and this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful question about these constricting times that are coming up. And what we would say to you is that, yes, the first step is to acknowledge. Always the first step is acknowledging, because everything starts with the mind first. You start with your mind, and then everything else follows, because your mind is creating. And by the mind, we don't mean your physical brain. We're talking about you, your spirit, your insides, the thing that is controlling this body, control, and the thing that never dies, your spirit. That's what we're talking about. And so this will create everything that you see on this planet, on this plane. And so, yes, acknowledgement is the first step. You acknowledge, and then by acknowledging, you are opening doors and taking steps towards the direction that you need to go. So, yes, that is the first step. It is not the only step to take, of course. You have to take the next step, and you have to acknowledge and then take those steps into that healing process of, for example, with this being is talking about expressing his truth. So, um, going out and really expressing the truth, for example, his truth, would be the way to cure that problem. And depending on the level of expression, how constricted you are, that will affect the pain, and that will also affect the time that it would take for it to heal. So if you if you have been for years and years not expressing your truth, and it's built up all of this energy here, it might take a while for it to release, as you might take a while to release those thoughts from your mind. And so that is what is based on. It's just the time that it takes you to release these thoughts, and that is the key. And by releasing those thoughts and acknowledging that idea, you can take the next step. But acknowledging and then taking those steps, those are the steps to take. And as this being was asking about the period of time that this constriction, how long will this constriction time last? How long will it last? This is a good question. And this, you might say, is based on many, many different factors at the moment. There are many, many different things that are involved, what you might call moving parts that are involved. But what we can say with 100% assurance is that it is constricting. We are going into this constriction period. And it just depends on how many of you and the percentage of you that can let go of all of these things and to fit through this constricted time. If there is enough percentage of you on your planet, then it will end quite quickly because you're all able to fit through. But if there isn't, then it might be a little bit of a difficult time as you have to help your brothers and sisters, to help them to let go of things, and that might last a little bit longer. So what we would say, as this being would like to know percentages, would like to know numbers, we do not deal necessarily in these numbers, but what we would say is that there is a high percentage that many of you will be able to let go of all of these things, as from what we see, from what we are seeing. There is a high percentage that you will be able to do this, and so it will not be very long. And so that is as exact as we can give you. It will not be very long. And depending on your perspective, it might feel longer or shorter. It just depends on how much you have let go. And the more that you have let go, the lighter it will be, and the easier and shorter it will feel. But if you are still continuing to hold on and to believe in this foundation that is falling apart, then it might take a longer time for you, and you'll feel it as a longer time. It'll be a scary time because it'll be the everything that you've known up until this point will start to change. And if you are not ready in your heart for that, and if you're still holding on to it, and while you're holding on to the foundations that are falling down, you will feel like you're falling down with those foundations. It'll feel like a sadness. It'll feel like a loss of everything, a loss of your hopes and your dreams. But if you realize that there are new dreams to be had built on love, and if you realize this, and that if you now slowly start to separate that, to understand that these foundations are going to shift, then you'll be more prepared to go through this constricted time. And that is the answer that we will give to you. We are Isis, and we're very happy to have been able to speak to you in this time and space. Hmm. All right. Uh, all right. So, Catherine, hello. Um, yeah. Okay. So, your question: my anger has manifested a horrid disease. I was unaware of the anger until recently. How do I release it? Is it enough for me to feel it and hand it over to spirit? Um, hey, Kathy. Hello. Um, yeah. So, I think, yeah, they did answer that um yeah, first of all, you need to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge the anger, and then take the next step in taking the next step in trying to deal with that anger, and that is the step. um and is it enough for me to feel it and hand it over spirit? Yes, yes, you have guidance, so just, yeah. But first you have to acknowledge, and you have to deal with the root of that anger. That is really important, because if you don't deal with the anger, no matter how much guidance they give you, it'll still be there. So you need to go to the root of the problem. um, so yeah. All right, guys, so thank you very much. Wow, it's already 19 minutes. Ooh. It's meant to just come on for a few minutes. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to channel about. And so, yeah. Oh, by the way, no. Okay, ciao.